Hey guys, it's me. I'm back. Wise Dragon Comics after a extended hiatus. Work got a little busy. I got more hours, and so I started working at stuff, working a little bit on drawing, and trying to fit more anime and manga into my time. Sorry for neglecting you guys, but I haven't forgotten. And today I come at you with a video that's based on how to draw different kinds of scenes, just to more focus on intense kinds of scenes. Like, for instance, if you were drawing a battle scene, but not exactly the clashing of swords or fighting or anything like that. It's more like how to depict certain kinds of intensities, like, or what you wanted to show to your readers. Usually, I classify them as three types. You have epic, dramatic, and atmospheric. Epic is more like based on like the coolness of action. So you would draw something like a character. If what it would do is it focuses on a character, like for instance, character that's like holding a sword, and say a character would have the sword like focused into the foreground. And the foreground is basically more like pointing at the reader. So you would do some foreshortening. It makes the sword look bigger than it is. And that will be something similar to what epic would be. Because it focuses, like I said, it focuses on the character and more or less what he's about to do, rather than how he feels or what's exactly around him. Which is slightly good to use after, like, let's say your character has made like a resolute decision and he's actually confident in what he's about to do. That's why, like I said, it's good to use like right before he's about to unleash some type of special action or special skill, or just basically about to be epic and pretty cool. Next one is more of a dramatic kind of focus. And how that will work is, let's say I would more like make a side view of the character. And basically, I'll use the same example, same kind of shape, same kind of scene, same kind of pose, but depending on the views, you'd actually get a different feel from it. So we have the guy, he's holding a sword. and the camera is slightly, if you were to imagine it in a spot, slightly below him. And I call this one dramatic because more or less gives you a view of the character as if they're deciding something, like there's some inner monologue going on. Not exactly he's not exactly resolute in what he's doing, but more or less thinking about what he's going to do, not the action itself, but more like the consequences that it will bring. So that's why I call it dramatic, because it more or less has a emotional focus. It's not really based upon what's outside of him, but it's actually more like inside of him is where the real action is. Man, I just stabbed the crap out of myself with that pencil. Basically, as you're seeing that the sword doesn't look as big because you don't want something like that to be the focal point. It's more on the character, which is why, like, if you were imagine it like a point when you're drawing something, one of the things you don't want to actually do is like in the middle in a panel. If you were to imagine it and like you were to cross everything like this, what you don't want to do is actually put something right here in the middle. You actually want to put things around the center. Yeah, so basically when you're also drawing these kinds of things, you don't want to put something directly in the center of the panel itself. Like even up here, you could even see there's nothing there, and if you were to draw a line through it, there's still nothing there. This also goes towards when I was speaking about panel flow. This way you can have something, if you have points that you will focus on in the panel, there will be something here or here, and then it will go straight through these line points if you were to imagine it being there. So you can see here's his face that you will focus on, here's the sword you will focus on. And so if you were going somewhere, you will focus here and then there, rather than just if you drew something in the middle, it will be just right. It will just be, you will basically stop in the middle. Now, the third kind of scene is atmospheric, is a little complicated, mainly because you can actually draw something in the middle, but because of the way it's drawn, it's actually not what the focus on. It's not what the focus is on. Now, atmospheric. Atmospheric is where you would actually want to more or less describe the scene by using the surroundings. So, now I did mention that you don't want to draw anything in the middle, because the middle is kind of almost like I don't want to call it a negative point. I don't know what the exact phrase you would use for it, but it's actually something that it's easy to dismiss, because as you're flowing from point to point, you'll hit other things first, and then it's almost like it's almost like you would just quickly go through it. So things in the middle tend to not get noticed as easily. So let's say using the same kind of pose, and we focus on the character being in that, and focus on the atmosphere. The atmosphere would be more like you want the reader to pay more attention to the character's surroundings, like what's around them, not what he's thinking about or the action he's about to do. I'll go ahead and sketch this. As you can see, he's holding a sword, just like before. Now, the things that you want to draw in the background. Let's say you could draw an army of characters, an army of people behind them holding weapons or things like that. You could short form it by like drawing points. Just make it look like weapons are in the background. You just draw some heads here, shoulders. Swords. Key thing though, if you actually ever do something like this, is I actually slipped up and I actually should have made them like bigger. Well, I actually should have made them sit higher than him. As you can see, I'm just giving it some shade back here. You could even draw like monsters in the back if you wanted to. For instance, give them eyes. Draw like crazy tails. Oop. As you can see, how this is actually turning out. Because of the way comics flow, you can actually see how it's going from one spot to the next. The character isn't really the focus, but it's focusing on his surroundings. And it's easy to actually notice what's actually happening behind them, and you're focusing more on that. But that's basically my quick lesson for today. It wasn't really quick, but as I said, epic, dramatic, and atmospheric. Same pose, but each one actually tells a different story. You can use these kinds of things when you're making your manga. Till then, keep drawing, guys, because I definitely am. So you should see something new from me soon. Peace out.